Alright, it is time for another speculation video. So the OCG actually ended up announcing that we're going to get a deck build pack, Infinity Chasers. And the thing I wanted to do with this video was kind of talk about potential of bringing more archetype support to other decks and just kind of what I'm expecting to see from this booster set in general, because they've definitely proven that they can add new support wherever they want. So this is going to be a discussion on what we can expect from this set. Let's dig on into it, shall we? Alright, so deck build packs, in general, we kind of definitely find really weird things to do with them. Konami's definitely proven that, well, we can do anything we want with these sets. And there are a lot of archetypes out there that are very under-supported. And these are going to be the three that I think would be really cool to get some more support for. It's actually kind of breathtaking. With a name like Infinity Chasers, you know, there's a lot of things that kind of come to your mind. And if you're strictly looking at the name and understanding that this is a pack that's supposed to add more to these archetypes and effectively allow you to build a deck straight out of the pack. And I think that's kind of the thing that's most interesting about it, is everything that you need is all available to you under one roof. So the first big thing that I want just to get any support, especially with the name of Infinity Chaser, is actually going to be the Meklords. And oh god, the last Meklords I don't think have gotten any more support since, what was it, the end of the 5Ds era. They were like the big kahuna in the room trying to get, you know, their new stuff. And when I think of this archetype, Meklord, Emperor Wise always comes to my mind. So they did have the restriction of the bigger guys not being able to be normal summoner set. They have to be source summoned by their own effect. So basically, when a face-up card you control is destroyed by a card effect and sends to the graveyard, you have to bring this out from your hand. And then when he was special summoned this way, other monsters your opponent controls cannot declare an attack. And then once per turn, you could target a synchro monster, and then this guy would effectively equip that monster to it. And he had a built-in spell negation, which was pretty fancy for his time. Then, I mean, you had things like Skeel. Granel, his attack was representative of your opponent's life points. Like, Granel wasn't the best thing. And then they came out with, like, the littler versions of the Meklords. Like, the little ones weren't that spicy. I mean, they were okay. Like, Baby Weisel was okay. And then, of course, you had the super big monster, which was, this card can only be normal summoned by sending 3 Meklord monsters from your hand to the graveyard. And then once per turn, you could target a face-up synchro monster and equip it to this card. So, when I think of this archetype, I specifically look at Meklords, Infinity Chasers. Of course, these were the guys on the streets that were trying to stop Yusei and the gang from kind of doing their thing for a little while. And Meklords, they need a whole new line of support. If you could make it so that instead of sucking up synchro monsters, you know, you release some new Meklords as good as Weisel that have the ability to suck up anything, you'll be onto something. Weisel's strong suit was being able to suck up and also being able to negate the spell card. But the big problem with this archetype was you got to destroy your own card or have a way to destroy something to beam out the Meklords. They were cool for their time. I mean, Weisel was fantastic, especially when you were like going into bigger board wipe formats. I do think that there's a lot of potential here to redesign the archetype or just add more to it. Making so you could like destroy something to draw something to drop this Meklord that you can generate some sort of advantage. Turning all of your opponent's monsters into synchro monsters so you can suck everything up is exactly where this archetype needs to go. And like I said, Infinity Chasers being probably the archetype, first off, probably going to be the best one I want to see support for, especially in a pack like this. Like, once again, you redid it for Samurai. Do it for my boy, Weisel. I've always been a huge fan of the card. No reason why he can't get a little bit more love. Now, the next one, being the name Infinity Chasers, always comes to my mind, Infernity. So Infernity was always this concept of you have nothing in your hand, bada bing, bada boom. You get the access to do some sort of effect. And I believe there's a bunch more support that I don't think we ever really got. Now, Infernity needs to just straight up be revisited as the concept, because you left a lot to be desired with this archetype. A lot of players have this almost hole that needs to be filled, because considering the fact that the Searcher is banned / limited in certain regions, Infernity Launcher, like the small card pool of cards that Infernity had available to them was so immensely powerful. It was abused so many times throughout the general course of Yu-Gi-Oh! That it was just disgusting. So now, what happens when you look at this? You're like, oh shit, we should probably give some Infernity support to the deck. So it's like, well, they had that. What was it? They had some sort of like card in the show that like allowed you to just kill your opponent. It was like some old Wild West style thing. It definitely got censored when it came to America. But Infernity and Infinity, the thoughts really cross. I'm getting too old for this shit. But the lines really do cross. And the chasers of Infinity, always never really having anything in the hand, kind of brings me the most joy saying that. Plus redesigning the archetype, being able to design new stuff, add more to the card pool. More degeneracy obviously will come from this if they actually do go after Infernity here. Also means that we can bring back the previous cards. You know, our boy Farfa over here. I love him to dear. He'd definitely... He'd be so ecstatic to see more fucking Infernity support. But I think, honestly, it's less likely to get new Infernity support as opposed to Meklords support. But in the grand scheme of things, you've got to do something to Infernity. Like, they failed hard as an archetype, one of the best engines in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So this is a golden opportunity to revisit it, remake it into an engine the way that, or an archetype as it needed to be. You know, I can't tell you guys how many people are just like, oh, I'm playing straight Infernity, and it's just like, you look at it, it's like, oh boy, 5 monsters, and the rest is just turbo cards. Like, that's the way the deck used to be. Add more into the fray. Make Infernity great again. Like, there's plenty of things to be said and to be desired there. So, why don't we add into it, finally? Like, and give it some revivability. Now, the next one, this is a great opportunity to explore into the police patrol archetype. Now, when I say the police patrol archetype, you remember the fun little card that everybody's waifu was on, that little police patrol from the underworld. Now, this is a great opportunity because we don't really have an explanation for her lore. We understand that, well, she's a policewoman from the underworld, but what if we expand on her? What if we add more to her? What if we explore the fundamentals of adding more of her patrol token? Okay, so if aliens can have an entire archetype dedicated to A counters, why can't we have an entire archetype dedicated to patrol counters? I'm not saying counter archetypes are good. No, not at all. But you have this link monster that is just sitting here, and it is so unexplored in the lore. Are you telling me that everybody looks like the policewoman from Pokemon? No, that's not how it works. You even went so in depth with the Spiral archetype. You gave us Spygown Misty, you gave us Master Plan, you gave us Double Helix. Expand on the police force. Tell us about the stories that the good folks in the underworld have to go through with these things. The Underworld archetype has kind of always been a joke, it seems like, with Konami, you know, with Sangan getting hauled off and things like that. But they've proven to us with Shueisha releasing Police Patrol that, oh, we can do something with this. The patrol counter archetype is unexplored currently. And you fix Noble Knights, one of the worst things in the world. So why can't we fix counters in a way that they can be deemed acceptable? I mean, you can make them Weather Painter acceptable, but people love their waifus. And especially if you come up with something that can kind of wrangle up the community. And not even so much as like a bullshit means of like trying to make it pseudo good. Just have it come into play, gain 2 counters, move 2 counters, draw 2, discard 1. Like, even something like that wouldn't be too bad. But you have this unanswered potential right now for an archetype, and I would like to explore it. I know everybody else would too. There's not much else to really point out for a police patrol or an underworld police force style archetype. It's just, you might be able to comment and just talk about some of the bad monsters and things that happen in jail to them. More like comic-esque cards, of cards being tortured. Things like Destiny Commander getting let out of jail. Like, things like that. Like, make this a fun archetype that we can explore and we would really enjoy. Like, there's just so many memes, like the delinquent duo sitting at the lunch table. Things like that. Like, I don't know. I think it would be cool. So, what are you guys expecting out of Infinity Chasers? There's a lot of cool potential, and I'd like to see it be explored. I'm sure a lot of you guys would too. Alright guys, that's all I got for this video. Peace out. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a Truffle Shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out Vanquil40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.